We'll get to our interview today. We're going to go all the way to Wisconsin for this interview, over to Barron, Wisconsin, and talk with one of the drivers and promoters over in that area, Mr. Kolby Kiehl. How are you doing, Kolby?
Good. How we doing tonight?
Doing great. I'm hoping to see some sunshine here pretty soon because it's been very gloomy the last 2 or 3 days where I'm at.
Yeah, it's been same way here. Feel like a hermit living in the garage all week just because the sun's not out, so you gotta can't really do much besides just hang out inside.
Yeah, and I suppose even for your work, I can't remember. Do you do insulation? And so is that more of like inside work? Or do you have to be outdoors quite a bit?
It's mostly inside. We get some outside stuff, but yeah, I've been helping the guys out a little bit there this week just because with it raining so much, I can't be up at our track either. So I kind of had a weird week of a standstill for the last 3 days. So I'm not complaining. It's a nice break, but I actually got to work on my race cars a little bit more. So I can't complain too much.
Yeah, we're going to kind of get into that because you wear multiple hats, so I can't imagine you have much free time as it is.
No, yeah, free time. Um, yeah, it's a lot less nowadays than it ever has been. That's for sure.
Well, if anyone's watching and tuning in and you want to say hi, feel free to drop a comment below. Jeremy Bloom checked in right away, a fellow Wisconsinite, so appreciate you checking in, Jeremy. Oh, I'm a little noisy. Oh gosh, let's see if I can turn this down a little bit. See if that'll help a little bit. Let me know if that's any better. But yeah, drop a comment or a question for Kolby if you have one. And so, get to know you a little bit, Kolby. Talk to us of kind of how you got started in racing or how long you've been behind the wheel.
I started in, I think it was 2010. One of my buddies actually bought a car and I ended up racing it up here stock for like just like 4 nights the first year. And then my grandpa and Dave Morgan ended up picking me up a pier stock that we built over that winter. And then that started it all right there. And then I raced pier stocks for I think 2 or 3 years. And then we got our first street stock. And then I raced street stocks for a long time, all the way up until 2020. What is it, 25? So 23, we raced street stocks, and then now we race supers and streeters. But so yeah, probably, I don't know, 10, 15 years we've been around the racing world, so to speak. But it's been a fun journey so far.
Yeah, and I met you mainly over the street stock tour when it was kind of starting out, and you would venture over to Minnesota for a few of those races because usually you only get one weekend over in Wisconsin, and so put on some miles. I know those couple of years, and I know you
Yeah.
had some. I think that one of the first times I saw you had some pretty rough luck over at I-94 at that tour race.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I do recall that night. I don't remember what all happened there, but like me and Kyle Dykoff got tied together on the backstretch, and then Mike Jans had nowhere to go and clean the whole front. I think that car that I had there was a Wallstrom race car, so it was a Demon Child car, and I think that car only had like 4 nights on it by the time I brought it there and had the front end cleaned off on it. So, yeah, that was one of my first tour races too. I think that I ever ran. Me and Cody Coomer come over together that night, and yeah, that was very unfortunate.
Yeah, it's kind of the name of the game with racing once in a great while, unfortunately. And like I-94 can be kind of a scary place for some of that stuff, especially coming off that backstretch into turn three. That's kind of like the trouble spot, it seems like.
Yeah, usually we do pretty good over there, but yeah, once you get to those little bit bigger tracks where you're carrying tracks around here are as fast as what it seems as out there. For size wise, there's a lot bigger tracks once you start getting over to your neck of the woods with half miles and a little bit bigger stuff, so you carry a little bit more speed when you get out there.
One something I've learned too, growing up in Western North Dakota, a lot of our tracks don't really have walls around them, like at hardly any place, mainly just the front stretch at a couple of tracks. But like when you get over to Minnesota and especially in Wisconsin, there's like a wall all the way around. So that was tough for me to, or not tough, but just different for me to get used to.
Yeah, that's what. Actually, we were just talking about that the other night. The farther you get out towards you, the less walls that they become. and it's weird. Guys that come over and race over here, they're gun shy about with the outside walls, and then we go out there and we're gun shy about launching it off without even having a wall. So it's kind of funny to see the two different aspects of the racers with walls to no walls.
Yeah, it's definitely different. And I assume, like, do you have a specific groove you like to race? Do you like to race up against the wall, or you like to be around the tires?
Well, the streeter, um, Kurt Myers makes fun of me for this all the time. In the streeter, I tend to shoot for the bottom just because, I mean, 90% of the time it's fairly good down at the bottom no matter where you go. But like if we go to Alex or somewhere like that, I really like running middle to top at Alex just because it's fun up there, as long as the track can take it, you know. Um, but in the super stock, I'd much prefer the outside than the bottom. I just feel a little bit more comfortable not getting pinched off or anything out there. But um, I guess two different worlds with two different cars, I think, is my ultimate goal there.
Yeah, you've been dabbling in the super stock the last few years, and kind of what I've seen you in mostly the last couple of years. I mean, what's the biggest difference would you say between those two cars?
um, I would say the steering's really hard to go back and forth with on a night to night basis. Um, Other than that, I would say they're somewhat similar on how they drive, minus obviously the steering, but the super you can take more places. It keeps traction a lot nicer than the street stocks do. You can take it a lot more places and be a little bit more agile than you can with the streeter. Um, and I don't know. I Everybody always asks me which one I like better, the super or the streeter, and I've been in streeters for so long, so that's really the only thing that I ever knew for the longest time. But I really do enjoy racing that super, but um, I don't know if I'll ever give completely give up on a street stock just because that's kind of the class that I really became myself in is the street stocks, you know?
Yeah, and it kind of seems like a good stepping stone, especially from street stocks to super stocks, because they're kind of still more of a full bodied race car. And so if you're used to working on like that kind of car, that kind of seems like the natural transition versus something like an open wheel modified.
Yeah, even how we set them up, like granted they're three link car to a stock suspension car and all this. I mean, you can go on and on, but when you actually just break up a lump sum of things, a lot of the numbers wise aren't that much different from a super to a streeter. The suspension works differently, but just the overall numbers of the car aren't really all that much different when it really comes down to it, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I enjoy both classes. Obviously, I'm very partial to street stocks just because I grew up watching them when I was young, like because I always liked the look of them, and like even to this day, it's still my favorite class to watch. So
Right, right.
I want to say hi to Brody Carlsrud and Casey Bossert also watching in, and Lindsay Hansen as well. Thank you for helping me clear up the audio issues. Technology, it's lovely when it works. Jeremy's kind of got a question for you, trying to interpret this. So you have Kids Night this upcoming weekend, and it was supposed to be this last Saturday over at the Rice Lake Speedway, which you're the promoter of that track. And so I
Yep.
guess kind of before we get into that specifically, talk to us kind of about how the promoting aspect has gone for the first year or so.
Um, a learning curve. I kind of got, I knew that we wanted, or when we were looking at buying the Speedway, I knew I wanted to be involved, but I kind of got moved into the promoter role, without really trying, basically. Between my dad and Dick, it just kind of fell into my lap that that's what was going to happen. And um, I would say it's a huge, it's an eye opener, I should say. Um, Things you thought you knew about a racetrack or how a racetrack is ran or what people think about racetracks and how people think racetracks should be run, and then you get put in that shoes and have and want to do it your way, and it's it's a learning curve. I'll leave it at that. Like you gotta really keep an open mind when you're doing it, and try not to be so bullheaded when you're doing it. But it's been a really fun first year and a half, I should say.
So I just came up with a great idea, and I think you and every promoter around Minnesota should implement this. You should do like a one race a year where you could have like a promoter for a day, whether it's like from a driver or a fan. Do like a contest. Whoever wins, you get to be the promoter for the day or that week, and see how it
Yeah.
goes.
I would say a promoter for a week because you don't get the full effect until you get to be involved for the whole week. But yeah, that would be a huge eye opener for a lot of people. I'm going to tell you that.
Well, and just like this last week, dealing with weather. So Jeremy was asking of like the Rice Lake Speedway Kids Night and trying to make the decision on whether to race or not. And so I'm sure there's like a whole bunch of factors besides weather that you kind of have to factor in before you make a decision to cancel.
Yeah, that's the most stressful thing about owning a racetrack is when to cancel and when to not because everybody always has their own opinions. We were talking about this a little bit before we started this. Everybody has their own opinions on what the right answer is for weather, for rain, how when you call it, how late you wait to call it, what's too cold, what's too hot, what's too much rain, what's not enough rain. I mean, we try to make it as big of a group decision as we can. So between us three owners, me, my dad, and Dick Kalo, and then my sister Jen, and a few others of us, we just sit down and do what's best for the racetrack. I mean, racetracks ran as a business, and so we just got to do. We just come it up as a group and do what's best for the racetrack, and then that's what we go with. And then the comments and consequences after that are pretty irrelevant.
Yeah, you kind of just got to make the decision, and whatever happens after that is all said and
Yeah.
done. Which you mentioned that it had rained like 7:30, 8 o'clock that same Saturday night. So wise
Yeah. Well, we
decision.
actually canceled on Saturday in the morning, and it wasn't 20 minutes went by and the sun come out at the racetrack, and I'm like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. It was short-lived. It only made it for about 20 minutes, and then it started misting and cloudy and cold again. But that would have been just our luck canceled, and the sun would come out for the rest of the day.
Yeah, I've seen that happen way too many times. Unfortunately, it's
Oh,
like, yeah, you're
yeah,
kind of in a lose lose situation at that point.
yeah.
So Lindsay has a couple questions checking in. So to answer your first question, Lindsay, Colby is one of the promoters at Rice Lake Speedway in Rice Lake, Wisconsin. And you were talking about like the groove that you like to race. Do you prefer as a promoter tractor tires or like an inside berm?
My personal opinion on what I'd like, or as a track promoter,
He's asking
because
as
those are
a
two different
promoter.
things.
As a
Um,
promoter,
as a promoter, I'd rather have tractor tires, but as a race car driver that really likes to hit infield tires, I'd rather have a berm. But but the tractor tires are just a lot easier to maintain on my end of things and try to keep race cars where they're supposed to be and not where they're not supposed to be. Where if you have a berm, then that can be cheated quite a bit with basically throwing the whole car over the top of the berm and being down farther than what you need to be. So we can kind of control I think you can kind of control it a little bit better with the tractor tires so for promoter side, I think the tractor tires are easier for us.
now I don't know if you've ever been to River City Speedway, so they have like an inside berm. They might have, I can't remember if they do have some tires, but there's some instances where I see like half the car is like on the berm in some
Yeah.
cases. So I'm like, I can understand what you're saying.
Yeah, sometimes it makes more of you know, when that inside, or if there's a guy trying to pass you on the inside, he can dive underneath the berm and try to get underneath you, or go if you got tractor tires that are buried in the ground where they can throw the left front over the top of them. But when there's a 4 foot by 2 foot tall tractor tire sitting there, you're not going to get the guy bombing to the inside of you trying to clean the left side of your door off either. So,
Yeah, that's also a very good point. Jeremy's asking, what is your favorite track to race at with the streeter only?
um, I would say I don't know if I have a. I would have to say I probably have two. It's either Alec or Huron. Um, both half miles, of course, but I like the bigger racetrack. I like big, wide open racetracks. Something that the street stock can really get opened up on. Um, and I don't know why, but I've always liked Alex. We can get around Alex pretty good. I'm not saying I have any good luck there. Usually it's a driver error every time I go there, but I really, really like getting around Alex. So
Okay. Yeah, I'm always fascinated with half miles. They're kind of my favorite size track as well, besides 3/8, and it's fun to see like streets get like some of those speeds that you wouldn't see anywhere else.
right, yeah, yeah, you can hit. It's just a whole different feeling inside the car going that fast in a street stock around some like I think Huron is a tick faster than Alex even. But it's such a blast going. I mean, you make the smallest mistake and it turns into a really big one because the amount of speed and momentum you have to carry in a street stock. If you lift wrong or this or that, you could lose 10 car lengths in the matter of one screw up, where on a smaller track, you don't notice that as bad.
Yeah, yeah, that's also another really good point. Now, Lindsay, the times I've been to Rice Lake, we've only had inclement weather once. He's saying that if I come to Rice Lake, it's a guaranteed washout. But there was only a tornado warning the one time I was there for the Little Dream Race, and they got the night
Oh,
in.
that was
So
a couple years ago. Yeah.
I mean, we're sitting pretty good percentage wise when I go to Rice Lake.
Right.
Hopefully that
Right.
continues this year.
No kidding.
Sam Fankhauser checking in, Craig Gardner, and also Ben Brost. I believe Ben's is he an announcer at Rice Lake?
Yeah, I wouldn't say he's the greatest announcer, but he's our announcer. Yeah, no.
I mean,
He'll get
that's
a
funny
kick out of
because his
that.
question was, who's Colby's favorite announcer?
Oh, see, that's a catch 22 because um, me and Ben are really good buddies, but my uncle is Scott Teefs, so I'm kind of torn between the two. So, but they're both between them both, they're both really good, and well, Ben's par for average, but I mean Scott's really good, but no, but no, they're both really good at what they do, and I'd say between Scott and Ben, I mean they're hands down one of my two of my favorites. So.
Yeah, right in your neck of the woods for both, because I know Scott is the regular announcer at Red Cedar, and then he follows the Challenge Series, so get to hear it quite a
Right.
bit.
And I think he does Ogilvy quite a bit too. Yeah.
Oh, yep, that's another one.
Yeah.
Ben's also asking, will the mannequin in the Hall of Fame Museum get a clown suit this Saturday for kids' night?
We'll have too many kids laying on the floor because that thing, you come around the corner of our ticket booth and it about scares the heck out of you when you come around the corner. So I don't know if we could put them kids through that kind of abuse when they pay to come in.
Yeah, that probably would be good, especially on kids' night, which I'm sure you're expecting to have a lot of kids and a lot of fans for that night, because that's always a popular night no matter what track you go to.
Yeah, kids night at us by us is really really grown. Even since when David Mitch owned it, it was a really big deal. And then my sister and Colleen and Lauren Bush and them put in a lot of time. It's got to be over 130, 140 bikes and 150 to 155 prizes that the kids can win that night. And then they come down on the track and get candy from the drivers and pictures and everything else. So I mean, it's really turned into a pretty big deal up there now.
Yeah, that's awesome. I know tracks have been really like amping up those kids' nights, and
Yeah,
yeah, like there's several tracks that do a lot of the similar stuff. So that's awesome that your track is doing that, and that all their tracks are kind of following suit with that as well.
right. Yeah, got to get the kids involved.
Oh yeah, you got to keep the kids around, keep them interested in racing, because of course we want young racers kind of getting into the sport and kind of dabbling in some of the classes. What are your regular classes that you race typically at Rice Lake on a regular basis?
Pier stocks, street stocks, Midwest mods, supers, and mods, and then we race USRA late models. I think 6 times throughout the year, but mostly it's just the five classes.
Nice. And now I haven't been there on a regular night. I've always been there just for the Little Dream Race. So I'm looking forward to. I'm for sure going to be over there for the Street Stock Tour race, which of course where I met you, and so I'm sure that's one of those exciting races that you're kind of looking forward to here later this summer.
Yeah, it is. I'm actually really looking forward to it. Even last year when we first bought the track, I talked to Benji a little bit about trying to get a tour race, but we bought it so late in the year we couldn't kind of make it go. Um, and it was always a touch and go deal anyways with having the Little Dream not kind of right in the dead of summer too. So trying to keep two street stock races not so close to each other. But I don't care. I like street stock, so they could have been back to back for all I care. But I think it'll be a pretty good show, all right? I think it'll be pretty fun and a pretty good show. So
Yeah, and I've been kind of watching the street stock racing to start the year, and it's been pretty good so far. And of course, I mean, they put on a good show no matter where they go. And I know a lot of drivers that haven't been there, like from like Minnesota and North Dakota, are excited to head over there for the first time as well.
yeah, oh yeah. I mean, we got some of the, I mean, along with what's over there, but between Nick Trainer and Andrew Hansen, the Richards, I mean, there's quite a few really, really good guys over here that I think will contend with pretty much anybody anywhere. So I'm excited to see the Minnesota, North Dakota, South Dakota guys. Hopefully, we get some of those people to come over here. Um, I'm excited to see how they stack up. I trying to sweet talk Mitch to come back and prep the track maybe one more night just for that evening, so maybe I can break the street stock out. I don't race at my track very often. That's just a little bit of a conflict of interest, but uh, I think if I sneak out, I sneak out there for the little dream because FYE takes care of that. But if I sneak out there one night, I don't think anybody will bite my head off too bad. So I'd really, really like to race in it, but we'll see what the night brings.
Yeah, I was kind of gonna ask that at some point. Like, is that a race that you were gonna want to partake in, especially since it's right in your backyard and you don't get to race a tour race that much in your backyard?
Yeah, that's the plan. Is I'm hoping I can race it. Kind of the same thing with the Super Stock series when it comes to town. I try to when I try to race at the track, I try to pull myself out of everything at the racetrack, so I'm not even basically involved with any of the decisions, anything that happen at the speedway, just to try to make it as level and as fair as I possibly can. And try to take any question out of anything that happens there. Um, but I'm hoping to be able to race. Yeah, it's the both tour races, the street stock and the super stock tour, and then the little dream.
Yeah, I almost forgot about that Super Stock series. That's like a really fun series to follow. That's always got great car counts. Great job by Dennis
Yeah,
McCauley. That's
yeah,
the guy. Yeah, he does a
yeah,
really good job promoting that series as well. No,
yeah, absolutely.
Ben's asking about where's the Cobra 8 shirts, and I was going to ask you too. Is that going to be the same number on that street stock that you're about to unveil here at some point?
Yeah, it is. It's actually the wrap guy just come and measured it tonight to get hopefully get some stickers before we leave to go to Alex this weekend. Um, but yeah, it's gonna be number 8. So the guy that owns the race car, that's his number. That's his favorite number. So that's the number that's gonna go on that car. Um, and that's the only reason why it is number 8, or else it'd be number 9. But and then the Cobra chassis thing was my uncle started building Cobra chassis, which is Dave Miller, and so we did a little throwback to him for because he was getting inducted into the Hall of Fame up in Ashland, and then so yeah, Ben's been asking for Cobra chassis street stock shirts here for the whole summer, and if I could get my shirt guy to get on making them, that'd help me out a little bit and keep Ben off my back. But
I'm curious who Ben is referring to in this comment because he's saying he hides in his ancient toter home, and we think it actually powered the Mayflower across the pond.
yeah, he's talking about my hauler
Oh, okay.
because my toter home's a 1987, but um, now he's just getting brutal. Now he's just being mean.
That's right. I forgot. You do have a unique looking toter. I think I remember this now.
Yeah, it took a little beating here about a week ago on Thursday. We got some bad weather come through, and a roof off one of my buildings flew off and landed on top of my hauler. And so now it'll look a little dented up when I roll into Alex for the weekend, but that's gonna be have to be okay. Insurance is people are busy right now, so it just kind of is what it is for the rest of the summer. So, but
Yeah, they're going to be really busy. Man, I mean, I don't know if you saw earlier tonight that they're fighting wildfires now up at Thunder City Speedway.
yeah, I got a Snapchat from Tyler Vernon and stuff like that, and they couldn't get across because the wildfires. And then I seen they must not be too far from Thunder City just because they were posting pictures of the smoke that wasn't that far away. I don't know a whole lot about it, but I just seen a little bit about it.
Yeah, that's crazy that we're dealing with all the moisture over the last 3 days, and they're dealing with fires near the track, and I'm like, wow.
Yeah, they could have used some of our weather this week.
Yeah, yeah. So hopefully they get that all cleared up. I think they're rescheduled for tomorrow, so hopefully they're able to get some racing in.
Oh,
Well,
they
while we got
rescheduled
a
for
second,
tomorrow.
want to give you an opportunity to thank any sponsors or crew members that kind of help your racing program out.
Yeah, I got a ton of them. Between like my dad and Tom Clausen, Brian Reinhardt, those guys are with me quite a bit. Chris Stover and Big Chad. Big Chad builds all my motors. He used to pit for me. Well, he still does pit for me quite a bit, but he used to go everywhere with me. He just had him and his girlfriend just had a baby the other day, so I want to congratulate them on that. But so he doesn't come with me quite as much anymore. He's got a little few other obligations going on, but he still builds my motors for me. And then sponsors that have been with me for a really long time: Bush and Gillis Furniture, Jocks Towing, Mastercraft, Dick Calo. Um, who else? Summit Steelworks, Red Cedar Painting. Um, I'm trying to think of all the ones I haven't had to do this in a while. I don't win anymore, so I haven't had to do this in a while. um, JR Truck Repair out of Chippewa Falls. Um, Chris Myers Realty. Kurt actually built my super, and he helps me a ton. Me and Kurt are really good friends, and he helps me out as much as I don't want to admit that we're friends. He helps me out a lot. So, um, Holmstrom Holsteins, um, man, the Big O out of Rice Lake, um, wow, all of them. They all help me out a ton. So, like I said, I don't win it too much anymore, so I don't get to say all my sponsors as much as I probably should.
Well, that means you got to get into victory lane at some point this year.
Yeah, that's the goal. That's the goal. I hope to do it sooner than later. The super stock's been getting pretty dang good, and well, we'll see about the street stock, how good it is this weekend. So,
Yeah, and like outside of the work you have to do for Rice Lake Speedway, what is kind of your racing plans for the year?
yeah, so we don't really race. I don't race much Saturdays unless Race Lake doesn't race, and then I'll go travel. But so far, as of right now, it'll pretty much be every Friday in Menominee, and then Sundays we're either going to hit Proctor or Granite City. And then I'd like to get up to Grand Rapids on Thursday a few times. And then once Race Lake ends in September there, then we hit her hard and I race pretty much wherever I can get my hands on a racetrack. We're headed there until the end of the year. Just because I like to make up for lost time throughout the summer. But I'm going to try to run as many tour nights as I can with the street stock, which obviously I can't run on Saturdays, but I'm going to try to hit as many as I can and then try to hit as many super stock tour races as I can too, all considering Rice Lake. So,
Makes sense. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
It's kudos on you for having a balance of like still racing as much as you do and also working at the racetrack because that's some weeks I'm sure that's like gosh I wish I could have like 2 days where I could just do nothing but sleep.
Oh yeah, I thank God I got an understanding wife and my kids because she doesn't try to murder me in my sleep when I don't come in the house until midnight from working on the cars or prepping the racetrack until 10 o'clock and then coming home and working on the cars afterwards or leaving every Friday night and Saturday night and Sunday night to either work at the track or race or whatever. So we don't get to see each other as much as we used to, but thank God she's understanding and knows that I'll lose my brain if I don't get to sit in a race car for too long.
Yeah, and I suppose you and Ben probably give each other a hard time, so that way at least he kind of keeps you sane as well through all the craziness. He's got glowing comments for you here
Oh,
tonight.
yeah, I bet he does. Yeah. Yeah, we give each other, um, even during the races, we'll be texting each other, even at race lake and or throughout the week. If I'm ever stressed out or anything, I either text Ben or call Ben because he's usually a good one-liner away from my week going up, getting better. So, but I don't want to give him too many compliments because then he'll think he's a nice guy. So I don't want to get carried away there.
Well, he graciously offered for me to join him whenever in the booth on the mic. So I appreciate that offer,
Sure.
Ben.
Definitely should. Yeah. Actually, we should have you do on that Saturday night for the street stock tour. I think we need to have you do all the drivers interviews that night. I think that's would fit you pretty well.
I'd be open to doing that. I want to like out of all the tour races, Rice Lake is definitely at the top of my list of the ones I'm excited for this year.
Awesome. I'm happy to hear. Well, we'll have to do that then. Ben likes drivers interviews, or at least I like when we don't have, I haven't really got somebody set up to do drivers interviews yet. So whenever I can sucker somebody into doing them that night, I don't sound good on a mic at all. So whenever you come, then at least I got somebody that can do it.
More than happy to help in any way I can. Jeremy's got one last fun question for you, asking. So, if you do you watch the World of All Out late models at all?
Yeah, some. Not a ton, but some. Whenever I got time.
Do you have a favorite World of Outlaw late model driver?
Yeah, I would say probably Turbo. At least that's who I keep my eye on the most between him or I don't know. Probably just Turbo. I keep my eye on him the most, seeing where he's traveling to. Him or RTJ, I guess. Those two is kind of who I keep my eye on.
Gotcha. Yeah, I don't get to watch too much World of All Out late models. I kind of more watch the sprint cars or kind of follow them. So there seems like there's like
Right.
10 different late model series. Well, sprint cars are kind of catching up to that. So it's hard to keep track of all the late models.
There is, yeah. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Colby, for taking some time out of your busy schedule. That's good to hear that I'll hopefully see you at some point this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. We should be in Alex by Thursday or by Sunday, and then if I can sweet talk my pit guys and my wife into letting me stay, I think we might run Madison on Monday night then too. So we'll see.
Nice. Yeah, busy weekend, Memorial Day weekend. Hope Kids Night over at Rice Lake goes well and all the races over there. And I'm looking forward to getting over there for, well, the tour race and for sure the Little Dream. That's always the two that I really look forward to heading over there.
Yeah, can't wait to have you over.
Awesome. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed tonight's interview. Be sure to stay tuned for more interviews coming over the next few weeks. And see you at the track at some point this weekend, everyone. Who knows where it's going to be? Take care, everyone.